that make this event possible. I have a friend, Melinda, she just left. She's like, it's like when you walk in the Seas part. And it just made me laugh. She actually sent me a gift about that. I'm like, I have people. So I want to introduce you to those people and say special thanks to some sponsors. Dave & Buster's has been an absolute godsend to work with because I was looking for a venue. I was looking for a place that had good parking, food, drinks, and social hour. And here it is. Here it is. Answers, prayers answered. So I'd like to bring up Brooke to just share a little bit about Dave & Buster's and say thanks again for being our sponsor and our venue.
Thank you, Tisha. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's really a great pleasure to be a part of Social Connect and host it. It is a quarterly event, so please come back next time. We'd love to have you guys. I just want to let you guys know about a couple of specials we have going on today. Tuesday is our $2 tacos day. So we have $2 tacos as well as $2 Coronas. And then we will be doing trivia night and country night beginning at 7 o'clock up in our front lobby. So if you guys get a chance, stop by for some fun trivia as well as some country nights. And then we have a couple events coming up. On August 10th, we will be doing our Connecting Community event. That will be here at Dave & Buster's. We will be packing some backpacks for the $1 Million Teacher Project. As you know, we've been collecting school supplies for this event. And we will be having a packing party again on August 10th. Thank you.
They left, but big shout out to Artisan Color. I never had a print sponsor, and now I have a print sponsor that is like, here, take a step and repeat. Here, take more banners, take more flyers. And let me just say that makes a world of difference when trying to promote the event. It's how these lovely panelists of mine were able to start sharing it too. Like Tazo's like, I could get this in my Uber and give it to people. I was like, brilliant. Okay, let's do it. All right, and then just some special shout outs to the Mighty PC, Ken Chan, who was helping me. He brought his VA. Here you are, Ken Chan right there, the Mighty PC. Last Hour Media, Kim Perry is somewhere around here. I'm always trying to find them. Ken is my videographer and partner in crime. And then I have to give a big shout out to Faith Williams. Faith, raise your hand. Faith walked in the rain with a chocolate cake. Faith is an amazing vegan caterer, and the cake is vegan! So try the cake. It's good for you. Chocolate cake is good for you. Okay.
Yeah, it's over there.
All right.
What? Yeah.
It's vegan. It's vegan.
She tested for it.
We can talk about how it's vegan. All right, okay. And then, of course, Lucky You Creative can't be here, who designs all the flyers. Startup Entrepreneur Academy is something that I do, so if you're in the startup space, love to work with you on that if you have an idea and want to get that rolling. All right, so I have the pleasure of introducing you to our panel, but first, Nat, I was like, Nat, he's like, how are you going to give me a sign? And I'm like, I'm just going to wait. He's going to be, because I don't have an advancer. So Nat sent this to me, and he's like, Tisha, this is exactly why success over struggle exists. And it's this message right here, and Nat, I don't think he drew this, but he found it, and he sent it to me. But it says, one day you will tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide. Oh my gosh, like I was like, I'm gonna cry. Can I share it? Can I share it? And he's like, yes, of course. I love this because this is exactly what I aim to do up here. So many of us are going through the day-to-day and we're like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then you meet people like RK, Rene, and Tazo who are like, yeah, you can. Yeah, I've been there. I've had a lot of struggle, and this is how I've gotten back up. So I love this message. I'm stealing it. So give credit to the girl if you found it. That I'm taking this because it speaks so perfectly as to what this panel is. All right, next slide. All right, so to introduce you to our panel, the panel, if you've never been to Success Over Struggle, it really is just a very quick, hey, I want you to get to know RK, Rene, and Tazo so that you can make connections because these are amazing people in the community to connect with. And a lot of times it just takes having a conversation with them, like we've discussed. So RK and I literally met 3 months ago in dire circumstances because my speaker dropped out. And Matt's like, I know a speaker. I'm like, great, bring him. So some of
I'm
you,
too shy.
some of you were at the April 30th event where RK and I just did kind of an impromptu LinkedIn talk. And I started getting to know RK. We did a 15-minute talk that led to an hour talk. And I was like, I really like your story. He's got a great story. So I'm going to ask RK a question. And like I said, this is about a 30-minute panel. And then feel free if you have some questions as well. But RK is the CEO and a master trainer with Training Standards International. And he was also on our Success Over Struggle podcast. So if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, great opportunity to dive in and hear his story. But here's my question for you. I think you're prepped. You ready to go?
Always, yeah. Talk?
All right.
Yeah.
Talk. I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
I'm a master trainer. He's like Tisha. Don't forget master. Master trainer. All right. Was there a moment in your life when you realized you weren't on the right path? How did you know? And what did you do to get back on track? I know you've had some health scares and Jerry Springer drama.
I think that's what I'm going to tell you. Yeah.
I love this story. I love this story. Ryan Parker, I don't think is in the room, but this made us laugh so much if you listen to the podcast. All right, RK.
So I used to work for Jerry Springer and Jenny Jones. Those are talk shows for those of you who are millennials. So, you remember, right? So one of the things is there's always a fight on the show. So one of the first things I can tell you is whenever I go into a new business and they say, well, our company's completely different, you have no idea. I go, unless you know for a fact you're going to be in a fight every single day that you go to work, twice a day because you film 2 shows a day, your job's really not that bad. But this is what changed over for me, why I stopped working there. So I was what's called a professional instigator. So now you have to imagine
You
this.
must know my children.
Now you're talking. Yeah. So before the panel, let's say, so the last show I did was My Father Stole My Man, and was the first show, and Barnyard Animals and the Men Who Love Them was the next show. Okay, so I go into work, but this happens to be Bring Your Kid Into Work Day, National Bring Your Child to Work Day. I was the only idiot who brought his kid to work. I bring my 9-year-old daughter to work. So, stop it, Todd, I will come right back there. So I bring her to work, and I say to the security, his name is Steve, I go, hey, this is my angel, this is my daughter, nothing more important on the planet. Watch her, because I have to go up, I warm up the audience. Here's what that means. She was with a babysitter the night before, because I took the panel out. My Father Stole My Man, I take them out and I get them drunk, if at all possible, while I say things like this. So your father stole your man. Do you like him? Oh wait, he just texted me. He said that you are awful. What do you think about that? So the next day, I want them to be nice and happy and ready to talk to each other. But if they're hungover with a little headache, that's not so bad either. I get a little bonus for that. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, is it made up? No, we just prod them until they're very angry. So we're up all night long. The next day, I bring my daughter into work, and this happens. I'm warming up the audience, and I look at the back of the room, and I see Steve, but not my daughter. And so I'm looking around, because she shouldn't hear anything I'm saying. And I finish up, and I run back there, and I go, where's my kid? And he goes, oh, I put her in the green room for Jenny. Wait, it's worse than you think. So Jenny Jones was shooting strippers who do more than strip. He said, I didn't want to put her in the room with My Father Stole My Man. So there was a bunch of women in the other green room, so I put her in there. You put my 9-year-old in a room with strippers who do more than strip. Are you kidding me? And so I go running, and it takes like 4 minutes to get to where she is. And anybody have daughters here? You know when they're in recording mode, when they're around 9 and you're talking to them, and they just go, and they're just taking in everything you're saying, and they say it back to you later on, verbatim. I walk in, and the strippers are changing clothes, and they're talking about things that strippers talk about, especially strippers who do more than strip. I grab my daughter, and I pull her out. Here's the thing, guys, you may not know this. Women in America have a lot of body issues they have to deal with every single day. And the worst thing in the world for a dad is to have a daughter and put her in a room like this. So I'm already panicked. We come out of the room, the very first thing she says is, those were good sandwiches. I'm like, thank God. The very next thing she says is, what's birth control? And I'm like, I'm dead. As soon as she goes home, she's going to say it to her mom. So I give her to a different security guy at the next show, the guy from Ginny Jones. I say, Mike, this is what Steve did. He goes, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. I go, I know. Watch her. This is my daughter. I've got to pay for therapy for years. So that show happened to be Barnyard Animals and the Men Who Love Them. For that show, I'm blowing up a sheep as my daughter comes around a corner. And she goes, oh, this is cute. And it's at that moment, and you know this, a chill went up my spine. Reality literally shifted for me. My daughter is touching a blow-up sheep. Something's wrong. And then she says to me, is this what you do all day? But when she says it, she's looking around at everyone I work with. And they're all excited about the show. It was banned in 5 states. My kid was there that day. It changed everything for me. I quit the very next day. By the way, I was making a lot of money. I mean, a ridiculous amount of money. I wound up working at Bennigan's. And that's how I became a trainer. It's like reality shifted and just put things in my path. Literally, I walked out of there, I quit. I walked down the street. This is in Chicago, by the way, if you don't know. It films at NBC Tower. I walk across the bridge, and there was a Bennigan's there. It's rainy. I fall down. Everything goes out of my briefcase, and literally, I walk into the Bennigan's, and I'm like, I'm going to get a beer. I don't drink, but I'm going to get many, many beers. I deserve many, many beers. As I'm sitting there, someone's talking to me, and he's just kind of talking, and I don't give a lot of eye contact. And finally, I turn to him and I go, what are you saying? And he goes, it doesn't matter, you're next. And apparently I had said yes to something. And I go, I'm next. And then this manager comes out, his name is Danny Lucy, and he goes, so come on back. And I'm like, what kind of Bennigan's is this? I just want a beer. So I go back to this closed section, and Dan Lucy goes, listen, I already know you're hired. I had to go through the formality. I'm like, he goes, I've been sitting there listening to you talk to every single person in the bar. I upsold drinks apparently while I was sitting there without realizing it, because someone said mudslide, and I was like, oh, mudslide, and I go right into the story because, I'm a talker. So I leave, I go home, and I'm only there from Monday to Friday, and they send me back to Louisiana. So I go home and I go, I just got hired at Bennigan's. And my wife says, doing what? I'm like, I have no idea. He just told me to be there Monday. So, yeah, I don't have a job, so I guess I'm going to work at Bennigan's. I'm from a food family. There's nothing I couldn't do in a restaurant. So I'm like, all right, that's where I'm supposed to be. I believe in providence. And for those of you, success over struggle, 80% of it is believing in providence, or believing in yourself, or believing in your success. 80% of it is belief in something. So I walked back in to Bennigan's Monday morning, and I was like, hey, because I didn't know if I was going to be a dishwasher or, and he goes, so this is Big John, he's going to be training you to be a waiter. I'm like, a waiter? Trainer? Are you kidding? My family owns restaurants. I don't need a training to be a waiter. Just give me a section. 10 days later, I walk into work, and this is, again, the success part. I walk into work, the same guy, Dan Lucy, goes, hey, RK, they're looking for a regional trainer, corporate trainer. I suggested you out of everybody that works here. I got your shift covered. Here are 2 tokens, and that's for the L. 2 tokens for the L. Go to this interview. That's how I became a corporate trainer. And here I am, years later, a master trainer CEO because of my daughter coming to work and because I fell down. You fall down to get back up. Trust in providence.
That's a good story.
All right, thank you, RK. All right, Rene Johnson. Rene, how many of you know Rene? This girl is a fireball, dynamo, so energetic. So she and I met on LinkedIn maybe a few months ago, right? And then we took the human connection offline at lunch and just became really fast friends. She's also been on the podcast as well. So she is the CEO and founder of Power Zone Coaching. She's also an author, a speaker, co-founder of the nonprofit She Rose, which is an international nonprofit that has helped thousands of domestic violence victims. All right.
Take it away.
Welcome, Rene.
Man, I have a hard. Is this on already? Is
Oh, I
okay?
think you have to press the button. Right here.
It's already on red.
Oh, press it till it turns green. Mute.
Okay.
Here.
Maybe switch.
Here,
Yes.
switch.
How about we do that?
Okay,
Switch.
sounds good. Well, that gives a little bit. Hi, girlfriend. That gives a little bit of pause because I'm not going to be as funny, but I hope to be inspirational. How's that? Okay. I won't be as funny as RK over here, but you got to have a little bit of humor in your change, right? Your change factor. So, as Tisha was saying, in about the stories that we're sharing here today, success over struggle, I want to share a little bit of my story and why I'm so passionate about what it has allowed me to do in my life and in my work that I do. My background, my Power Zone story starts in 1994. So in 1994, I had to make a life and death decision in order to be able to protect myself and my children. And that decision was to leave what the DA said later would be the worst case of domestic violence he'd ever seen, that I'm lucky to be alive. In that situation, you have a voice, and I shared it often. I shared it with a lot of people trying to get the help that I needed for me and my children, but people would brush it away, push it away, even doctors in the hospital room when I went with having different injuries and so forth. And so you learn to shut your voice down, and you learn to take it inward and think there's something more different. And I was a confident woman. I had some businesses back then too. Well, the situation in this case is I finally had somebody actually acknowledge my voice. Rene, do you realize you're being abused? It's like, yes, I've been telling everybody, but nobody is able to actually confirm or to do anything or guide me. And so just the strict empowerment of having somebody close to me to actually acknowledge that set a fire in me. And that fire took me to where I was able to move my children to halfway in the other part of the state. I had no job. I had no place to live. I had no friends. And at this point, I lost touch with all of my family because abusers make you move over and over to keep the secrecy and the silence of it. So I had to forge my way back into making a life for my children and I, and also go through the legal battle. It's a very grueling process that doesn't happen overnight. And during that, also keep myself safe and keep my children. And I sold the minivan we had, and different from the TT I have today, right? Yeah, sold the minivan and was able to put ourselves in a home, get one in daycare, one in school, and so forth, and start my pathway in this journey. I thought that was the part of it. That was the journey part, but it wasn't, actually. 3 years later, because this takes a lot, affidavits, hospital records, and so forth, I get a call from the district attorney. And we are getting ready to go to trial for 4 felony counts. And he calls me and he says, Rene, I have some news for you. Are you sitting down? No. What is it? He says, we have all of these documents. We have this ironclad case. We have enough information. We've done our best for you to protect you and your children. Unfortunately, somebody forgot to cross the T and dot the I. And we missed the statute of limitations by 180 days. Yeah. That gives me goosebumps. And in that moment, he said, can't do anything else for you. Very kind, They've been my strength. I put all my faith in them. They've been my strength. And at that time, I remember clearly falling to my knees. I was ready to give up. Who would blame me? I mean, it's been a very exhausting journey. And something actually energetically pulled me up, and a voice said, this is not it. It's not over. And I fought my way back. I couldn't do anything for myself, but I fought my way back. And in time-wise here, because I know Tisha has a little bit of a schedule here, I recall, just fast forward a little bit, I recall sitting, having a TV interview years later, after my book was published, Leaving Your Comfort Zone. And it was definitely a comfort zone. I had to own that, what I was in. And him asking me, the reporter, the interviewer asking me, what did it feel like? What did it feel like to not have the power to know that you no longer, the DA always had the power? And I looked at him and said, it just came from somewhere deep inside of me, my voice that I've been seeking. I said to him, the DA never had the power. I always did. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized I had given my power away. And I wasn't going to do that again. And fast forward again, I put myself through Lincoln Law School, far enough along, not all the way, but enough that I end up in the courtroom with my ex and his high-powered attorney, and me, myself, and I, as I like to say, in front of the judge. And I talked to that judge like a mama bear, okay? And gave him all that I knew I could, because my attorneys that I worked 3 jobs for, not the DA, but other attorneys for the kids' protection, said, you'll never get it. I've never seen this. If you haven't got the felony charges in prison, you're never going to get that restraining order on the kids. Watch me. So I talked, shared my voice, and you know what? I got it. I won what they said I would never, ever get. And as I'm walking out of the courtroom, a gentleman runs up to me and says, which law firm do you work for? And I just smiled ear to ear because I don't, I said, but it feels good to be, recognize that victory that I had. And I went forward and put that into energy to find my voice, which has been my mission all my life. And I didn't realize at that point. Started working with women escaping violence, WEAVE, and sitting in the courtroom with them and helping them claim that power that they had lost. Okay, no judgments there. We can't judge. You don't know the stories that go. I've worked with senators who've gone through this. All the way to where, as Tisha said, having a nonprofit now that helps women internationally with that. And my own business, to be able to help individuals learn how to be a leader in your life and find your voice. Inspire those changes you need. Okay, life is too precious, too short. Inspire those changes and lead those changes. And that's when you can get the success over struggle. Because if you don't choose to be a leader in your life, then you're choosing to struggle. You're choosing status quo. And I'm proud to share that story. There's a lot more to it. I write about my book and different things, but the short version of it. And I love that quote. Because that's what this is about. Sharing your voice, no matter what it is going to be that example for other people. Because if I could do this, what can you do? And that's the challenge I want to leave with you today.
Thank you so much, Rene. Real quick, because Desiree reminded me of this, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this. So a lot of you are like, how do I connect with the people in this room? And if you have the LinkedIn app, maybe you don't know, there is a feature where you can find everybody in here if we're all on at the same time. Does everybody know that? Should we do that real quick? Yes? Okay, so if you're on the LinkedIn app, if you have the app, you're going to go to the app, of course, and then you will see that when you open it up, it looks like there's 2 people, like that's your network connections.
At the bottom.
You want to, on the bottom, you want to click on that, and you want to hit Find Nearby and turn it on. So go ahead and click on that. And then you will start to see all the people in the room that you can start to connect with. Desiree, Ken, Poppy. So these are all the people in the room, if they are on the app. And I know speakers, you probably don't have your phone up here.
No.
But Rene, Tazo, and RK, you can connect with them. In fact, here's their information as well.
Tasso is my stage name, by the way.
Oh, that's your stage name. All right, thank you, Rene, for sharing that. And I just, even for time's sake, but I'm going to skip to Tazo too and ask you this question. So Tazo, how many of you have been to Salute Kitchen and Wine Bar in Tempe? Yes? So I know, Elizabeth, well, you're married to me.
You're cheating.
I have. Well, I have. I've been there a few times. Love the place. And so he is the founder of Salute Kitchen Wine Bar. And he's also the managing member for Gift 3R, which is a new venture that you're diving into. And so happy to have you here. He came to Social Connect last year sometime. Was like, I love this. I'm like, how about the panel? So, all right. So we've all had this famous saying about that money can't buy happiness, right? We've heard this.
Yes, we did, and it's actually pretty true.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true. So is there a time in your life, Tazo, where money outweighed your happiness? Being a restaurateur, now you didn't just own one restaurant, you owned
I did 7, yeah.
7? How old are you?
38.
38. 7 restaurants. And the man does not cook. Let me just tell you, he does not cook. 7 restaurants, 38 years old. So you started at 15?
No, I started at, can I share a couple of things about me coming from Cyprus? So I'm originally from the island of Cyprus, Greece. I came to the States 16 years ago, joined ASU, and I dropped out of college at age 22. Pretty much a year and a half later, I was in the States to start my first restaurant. And since then, I didn't stop. I call myself a schizopreneur, an entrepreneur with...
Schizopreneur.
Not a serial entrepreneur, but a schizopreneur, because I've done 7 restaurants. I started a supplement manufacturing company. I did a couple of mobile applications, and I had 8 business partners for several years. And my whole passion, my whole thing was to prove to myself that I can make this happen. And coming back to your question, yes, I was attached to the financial success that people will judge you by what you have in your pocket. So I was kind of going after, 24/7, stressing out, no life. Even though I was making great money and I was having lots of fun, at the end of the day, it wasn't until I filed for a bankruptcy for $1 million in 2009 to realize that that wasn't the happiness I was looking for. And still I didn't learn my lessons, and I had to kind of get back on my feet, started 3 more restaurants, did more partnerships, and went after my dreams. But having over 1,000 employees that I work with and I was personally attached to, because I love working 24/7 in my industry, I came so close to humans that I've realized that about a few years ago, it wasn't just overnight, because it was a kind of a pattern that I had to kind of actually see and start paying attention. I've realized that I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all, because I was judging my happiness with the money I had in my pocket, the amount of restaurants, the prestige, being the best bachelor in town. Sorry, baby.
Best bachelor in town. I love that. I'm sorry.
So, and when you have a restaurant, people kind of look up to you. Like, I had billionaires looking up to me, and I'm like, why? But the restaurants are pretty intriguing. They can teach you a lot. But the most important thing I got is that it came down to who are the people you have around you? Who are your friends? Like, who support you? Who's sad with your sadness? Who's happy with your happiness? And at the end of the day, you're going to end up with one person in your life. And if it's not your significant other, it might have to be somebody else. So, yeah, back to the question. Money didn't buy happiness for me. Like, it wasn't, and it's kind of funny because when I sold my restaurant about 18 months ago, and I silenced my mind, because I was around the restaurant 24/7, hundreds of customers that I personally talk to every single one of them. But I don't know if that kind of answers the question in regards to happiness or.
So, I know you told me you recently got married.
Yes.
Elizabeth here, Elizabeth. And I think that was just recently. Like, when did you get married?
That was a year and a half ago. Last April. I met her, and in 30 minutes I told her I'm going to marry her, and she freaked out. But coming and being around people and getting yourself out to people and meeting up people, you elevate your unconscious consciousness, and at the end of the day, you get to know a lot of things. And when I met her, I was like, she's the one. And that kind of was one of the things that I did first take action to change my life. Another thing I've done is she came along with a dog, which I've never been around dogs and I pretty much hated them. Having a puppy in your life, it can change your life tremendously. Another thing I've done was I literally clear all the assholes around my life. Like, literally, it's amazing how magical it can be and how empowering it can be when you have just people they do give a damn about you.
Yes.
Because jealousy, envy, those things are very, very bad. And for me, I'm preaching about kindness, I'm preaching about love. after all these experiences. And it kind of amazes me when you end up loving yourself truly, like truly loving yourself unconditionally. It's amazing what you can do to other people. And it's even more amazing when it comes back to you. It comes back to you 10 times stronger. And that's what kind of, I had 8 business partners. I got sued probably 30 times, including NFL, including the Mayweather, the boxer, you name it. So at the end of the day, it came down to give some love to myself.
Yes.
And that was the most empowering probably thing that I've done, life lesson. And then after that, you can do whatever. You can make money, you can conquer the world if you want. So.
I love that message. I love that message. We're hanging on that message. All right. Okay. So real quick, shameless plugs. I want to make sure that we are on time. I know this ends at 7 too. And we have to get group photo, right? Johnny? Group photo. All right. So real quick, shameless plugs. You ready, RK? What are you working on right now that you want to share? Something, announcements?
No, not really. I'm working on my next book, which is Oddly Enough, Finding Your Voice. And other than that, I'm just traveling around and doing my thing. Well, we are starting a new series of training, but I don't know if anyone of you would be interested in that at all. So, no, that's it.
Okay.
Are all the chapters going to be like food titles from Bennigan's?
But if you want the recipes from Bennigan's,
That can be an add-on for your book.
yeah.
There we go.
You get bonus recipes. All right. How about you, Rene?
For me, I have a couple things you might be interested in. One is we're going to have our first Power Zone Mastery Live here this fall. And it goes along with this message that I believe in about truly finding, your personal power zone and finding your voice and bringing that forward into the world around you, making a difference. And so, as you were talking about, we go through life belonging to all kinds of things, and either we never had experience to belong to ourselves, truly belong to ourselves, or we've lost our way and not done that. And my journey throughout the different things I went through in life, I've got a chance to experience it, but really the last 2 years, at 54 years old, I finally can say, I actually belong to myself. And it's a powerful place to be, and the world opens up to you an opportunity. So I'm having a retreat for women, and it's going to be a 3-day, and it's going to be around that theme. And so we'll be having some information later. If you connect with me through LinkedIn, I can share. But it's going to be not just sitting in a room listening. You're going to have some interactive activities to really pull yourself out, pull yourself from your comfort zone, and truly find that voice that you've been hidden somewhere in there until you're challenged to do so. So that'll be good. I have a second book coming out. I have to finish about a quarter of it left. I've got it here and there. Sometimes you have to get the creative edge to get it going. And I've been listening to inspiration. I've been really working more and more, and I have had a chance to take a little break and really make it even more powerful when I start again. And that is Leadership Why, and really understanding the power behind your leadership in your life, your business, and your community, and it's going to be very powerful. So those are 2 things that are coming up for myself and my business.
Nice. My turn. Since I left the restaurant industry, I started working on a mobile application for gift cards. And being in the restaurant industry has been hard to sell gift cards, but mostly it's been even harder because most people, they choose to pick up a gift card from a local grocery store, and that's not personal at all. So the gifterapp.com application I'm creating, it's a very innovative project, but also very challenging. And the last 18 months, I got shut down by 125 plus banks worldwide, including Stripe, Bank of America, because of the new technology I'm trying to introduce in the industry. And it has been so tough to kind of achieve it. And a few months ago, we finally signed up a contract with Wells Fargo. So you can pick up the phone, see, it allows consumers to create a personalized wish list with your favorite hair salons, restaurants, coffee shops, and it allows your friends to access it and share a gift card in 3 clicks from a favorite local places. I'm all about supporting local businesses, and that's what we're kind of preaching with the mobile application. If any of you is interested in beta testing the product, we're giving I'll give you guys a free gift card to Salud Kitchen Bar to go check it out, play with the app, and share your feedback. Thank you.
What do you guys think? Like the panel? Inspiring? You're like, we need more of this? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to share too, Nat, a slide. Yeah, so Brooke had touched on this too. So this Connecting Through Community event is coming up August 10th. So this is the next thing that I'm working on. I was looking for a way to involve my kids, meet new people, and give back. And I know a lot of us are like, how do we add more balance into our life? Well, this is how I add balance and have my kids be a part of it too. So this is a great event. We've teamed up with Lloyd, who was here earlier. Lloyd is with $1 Million Teacher Project, Dave & Buster's Social Thread, and I'm trying to remember, who else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, anyway. So, $1 Million Teacher Project, I love their mission of making sure that teachers never go out of pocket for their school supplies. That is huge. A lot of these teachers are spending thousands of dollars that they don't even have to support and supply their schools. So this is a great opportunity. If you walked in through the front, there was a massive tree. If you missed it, find it, grab a picture. That's Lloyd's tree. And so we are collecting school supplies up until August 10th. Some of you donated today. Thank you very much. Some of you donated to our 50-50 raffle. Thank you for that too. And we're collecting school supplies, so Dave & Buster's is a distribution point. You can bring them anytime, or come August 10th. Bring your school supplies, register, bring your friends and family. Dave & Buster's is actually catering it too. So you can come make that a really great event with your family to get involved with the community. And we'll be sorting and stuffing. So make sure you wear Converse. Just kidding. Comfy clothes. Comfy clothes. All right. Okay. So, Social Connect, I can't believe this is already the fourth one for the year. This is the third one. Okay, but October 29th is the very, very last one I'm hosting. Not forever, but just for the year. October 29th, we'll have a new set of panelists. We'll probably be on the roof because it's October in Arizona. Like, you have to be on the roof. So, October 29th, make sure you save the date for that. Registration details coming out. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming. A lot of new faces. It's pouring rain outside, so that even makes it more special. It's really nice.